And I've muted everybody just so that you can unmute yourselves. So good morning, everyone. I can't believe it's day 3 already. The time flies when you're having fun or something like that. So today we're going to work on a number of different things. One, I did throw in resources on organizing your Google Drive, just so you have kind of some of those ideas and thoughts in terms of ways to do that. The other things we're going to look at are some more collaborative things. And I am super excited to work with a bunch of the collaborative stuff because it is so nice to be able to bring in collaboration into the classroom easily. And this is such an easy way to do it. So the first one is Jamboard, and the K-12 just turned it on, and Corey turned it on for your district. So yay, we can't wait. The next one is Google Slides, which really are, if you're going to learn something, Google Slides is probably the most flexible tool that you can utilize. And then finally, we're going to look at some ways to incorporate choice, blending, hyperdocs, and give you some examples of those and how you can use all those. So as we get going, I'm going to kick it off with a quick look at organizing Google Drive and see. Jamie, I love that. When you organize things within school, it helps, and it's a good teachable moment. And really, that organizing your Google Drive for kids is a big part. I've worked with a couple of schools where they have the Chromebooks, and in middle school, the teachers have come together and said, this is the structure we'd like the kids to use, and then they share that. So Shake Up Learning has given us a really nice list of kind of tips to organize your Google Drive. And though I share this because she goes through a lot of everybody thinks differently, I guess, and so I share it because it's good things to think about, but how I name and organize my folders is going to be different than how you name and organize your folders. And so, kind of thinking about how you want to organize. And so this is a really good one for you to ponder and think about. And then as class teams, it's a good one to, talk about, to say, hey, how do we want kids to organize? And then one of the really nice things for Google for Education is they have applied digital skills. And these are actually resources that their entire lessons, they're designed for middle school, high school, and then like adult learners. And so what you can do with them is you can use them, just parts, or you can actually assign them. And so this is how you organize files in Google Drive. So you have a couple of options there. So we are in we're back in Google Classroom. I'm sorry. We're all in Google Classroom again, and I'm just on today's classwork. And so you're in your Google Classroom, so classroom.google.com, and then you're in the class Google Classroom. And I went to the classwork for today, and you have 3 assignments. Maybe 4 assignments. I can't count. It's day 3. It's day 3, 4 assignments. So anyways, the other thing with this organization is this will help you keep track of your files as you go through and look at everything. So that is Google, organizing Google Drive resources for you. Next thing we're going to look at, and I can't wait, is Jamboard. So we are going to pop into Jamboard. Jamboard is a digital interactive whiteboard. So how many of you guys have used Jamboard before? Go ahead and click on your participants, the little people, and then do a yes, no. Ooh, somebody's used it. Yay! Tell me about how you've used it or where you've used it. Go ahead and unmute.
Right now it's just more of me more messing around with it and figuring out how to use it. But I do have some students who do struggle to write things after we're reading, so I'm kind of using it more for them to draw what they're going to be wanting to say instead.
Oh, nice, nice. So we're using it through a personal account?
Yeah.
Cool, okay. It's now in K-12, which is so awesome. I'm really happy about that just because it makes it easier to share and do all that. So there's one other person. Do you want to unmute and talk about how you've used it or not?
So I took a class from Jen Fowler earlier this year, and we used it for discussion.
Okay, nice, nice, good. Yeah, so it is great for discussion. It's great for collaboration. It's just a really it's really like blowing up this spring because it's been out there for a while, but especially with the remote, and there's just been a lot more awareness of it. So I've given you guys a number of resources, and so you have some really nice Jamboard introduction slides, and so you have a copy of those so that you can come back to these and use them indefinitely. These are created by Susan Stewart, and I attended a conference where she presented this, and it was just excellent. You can see here, you know, she's talking about K2, Can 2, and so it was, you know, focus on the elementary kids. But if we go on through, you're going to see how we can use it beyond K-12. And so one of the nice things is you can use it either for synchronous or asynchronous instruction. You can do collaborative Jamboards, which we're going to do today, or you can assign students their own Jamboard, and so they could do their own. As you can see, it's all of the it's free, fun. It's a Google Core tool, meaning it is you can find it under the waffle. And when you create your Jamboards, they are stored in your Google Drive. So when you go to add something to Google Classroom from Google Drive, they show right up. She provides a number of different examples. Um, she the big you know, she goes through the resources. One of the big resources is the sticky note, and that is something that I use probably the most, is just because I can have, you know, you can brainstorm, you can share ideas, but you also have all the other tools. You have a image, you can bring in an image. You can also write with a pen. I am going to tell you guys there is no version history. This is something that is in Google. It's part of the Google suite. It'll be there as long as, oh, how long will this classroom? Oh, this classroom will be there indefinitely. I'm not, I mean, it'll be you as long as you're in, as long as you stay in the class, you'll be there because I made this one just for you guys. So this is your classroom. So you guys are good. You'll have this. Um, you can change your backgrounds, which is nice. And you'll notice that there's really great grids. There's also lines. Um, keep on rolling. So the other thing is there is no version history. So that is a drawback, because with no version history, if somebody erases it all, it really is just erased. And so that, but truly, I mean, it's one of those things where we roll with it. It could be worse. So I'm going to, and then as we kind of go on through her examples a little bit more, she has some really great things on, there's some rods that you can use for um, math. And so let me kind of skim through this. She has some examples of using it if you embed a document as an image, then you can draw over it and use it as, you can highlight it, so you can do some of that. You can use it as a check-in, you can use it as a graph. And then if we keep on scrolling down, on the slides, you can actually get the links for these rods. You can also get the Jamboards for algebra tiles and graph functions, so you can have all those. You can do some highlighting, you can do some, circle and draw outs and add the post-it notes. You can do some mind mapping, lots of science, check-ins, elementary cool things. So Jamboard is probably one of the resources that I am just so happy to have found it, because it really provides you with a lot of tools for your classroom. In addition to the slides, which are part of this class, there's also 2 Wakelets in your resources. And Wakelets are curated collections. I did not curate these collections, but I've been using them. And so these are like ideas and tips and tricks and things like that for Jamboard. And so Jamboard has really, like I said, exploded in popularity the last few months. So here's 64 items on this one, and you can check them out. So that is your Jamboard. And so now what we get to do is you guys actually are going to get to hang out in Jamboard. So what I'm going to do is I made breakout rooms for you this morning. And I'm not sure that I have everybody in a breakout room yet, but so how could you use this with a Promethean board? So anything that you can you open a Google Doc or a Google document on a Promethean board?
I think that's like desktop annotate or something.
Okay.
I don't know. We used to have ClassFlow, and then our district stopped paying for ClassFlow. So I'm just trying to think of how I would use this in a classroom.
So anything that you could project it to, so anything you can interact with.
Would it just be like clicking on?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay,
Click
so
and
it would
type
probably be
and
desktop.
go.
I'd have to
Yep.
mess around with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Because it's just that's all that you, all it is a clickable whiteboard, basically. So actually, I'm not going to throw you into breakout rooms right now. I'm just going to have you, I will work on breakout rooms while you work on this. So what I want you guys to do is pop into the Jamboard for your grade level. And so whether you're middle school, high school, elementary school, it is view only. Oh my gosh, I just take care of you guys. Let's look at how we share a Jamboard, shall we? Poor high school people. I'm sorry. So within Jamboard, you can go in and so you should, it says you can edit, but let me see. What did I do to it? This is not what I want. You guys are just brainstorm only. Apparently, the high school crew, I just don't trust, and you guys can only view things. There you go. You can now edit your file, okay? Sorry about that. Okay. So you guys can quick edit. So go in, answer that question, and brainstorm an idea for your Jamboard. So you can all edit Now, yes. So take a couple minutes, and because you all have editing rights, you will notice that at the top, we have the little windows. If we click on the little down arrow here, it's going to expand. You can, because you have editing rights, you can add frames. And so if you wanted to add more than one frame to this, you could do that. Okay, you're typing your post, you saved it, but it disappeared. Tell me, oh, you're in high school. So let's look at the high school one and see what it looks like. So one of the things that does happen is when you create a post, they fill over, they all, when you create a post-it, they all just go to this one spot here, and they land on each other. So it looks like a couple other people had, there you go, Janelle, you're moving yourself. Yep, perfect. Oh my gosh, look at you guys being all creative. Okay, so Mandy, you know what? Because you guys, yes, your elementary peeps, you may end up with, there is a limit. And there are enough elementary peeps that I'm glad we discovered this. So what I'm gonna do for you guys is I will just quick make a copy. I'll just make a new elementary Jamboard, and then we'll call it elementary 2. So you guys can access an elementary Jamboard. I should have broken you guys up into smaller groups. So I'll add it to the assignment. So if you can't get in, you can get in. All right. So I'm seeing so many awesome things that are popping up in the Jamboard. So this is super. Okay. So I added an elementary Jamboard too, just in case you guys need to do that. So let's go in and see how things are. Oh no. Okay. So this is a great brainstorming activity. Bell work, yes. Collaborative debates. Do now activities and organizer. And so like Tabitha, you talk about, do now activities, graphic organizers. You could also use this as if you say view only, so you can't edit it. This could be a way for you to share a schedule or share like your assignments and stuff too. So you have options there. So go ahead and type in the chat or unmute and talk. What are some things that you guys are doing such a nice job of organizing in the middle school? What are some things that you guys are excited about with this or questions? You can unmute.
Well,
Michael?
Julie,
Yeah.
yep. One one great thing that I can see right off the bat is we had some questions during fourth quarter about how teachers can use something like a whiteboard from home. That was actually a big problem at the beginning of the process. I did see some extreme examples nationwide of people going into their showers and using dry erase markers and having a laptop, propped up on their bathroom counter and stuff. So I love the idea that there's a virtual option for it that would eliminate the need for all of those improvised ways to have a whiteboard at home. So thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, oh, I'm just so glad it got turned on for K-12. It makes it so much easier for you to use it now. And I just think chalkboard splash, graphene. Oh, you guys have some really cool ideas. Let me pull up the elementary one. That's what you guys have. Oh, nice. You've created a second one. So you can very easily create multiple slides. And so that's a really great way to, do a step 1, step 2, step 3 type of process if you want to. Is it Monday again? I've been saying it's Monday all week. Did you guys notice that when you create a Post-it note, where it goes and how they kind of overlap on each other? And so you can really easily lose your Post-it notes if you have a whole bunch of people dropping in at the same time. And so just so you know that. I see so many good things here. Cool. All right, participants tab, yes, no. I want to know who's going to use Jamboard with their students now. Nice. Look at the yeses go in. Cool. I am so excited. So Jamboard is, for me, just such an amazing collaborative tool. The PowerPoint does give you guys some excellent ideas, and then the Jamboard Wakelets also give you some really good ideas. And so because it's it's new for all of us, I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes just to go and play in the Jamboard stuff and look at that. Look at the Wakelets, look at the PowerPoint, the Google Slides, just so that you have an opportunity to do that. So go ahead and explore Jamboard for about 10 minutes. So we'll come back in 10 minutes and move on to Google Slides. Steps we're going to do is I'm going to go back to Google Classroom, and I am going to look at the next assignment. And so the next assignment is the Google Slides. Collaborate, create, and communicate. So Google Slides has been one of my favorite resources, and I've really been diving into them a lot this spring because of the transition to online, and also because they've got so much flexibility. So how many of you guys are using Google Classroom or Google Slides right now? Yes, no, in the participants tab. All right, so a lot of you are not. So that's okay. And so one of the things that Google Slides is, Google Slides is the same as all of our other Google resources in the sense that you can collaborate easily, you can create easily, you can share. But there's also a lot of functionality that you can do in terms of collaborative discussions, student creations, and so lots of good things you can do. So in the resources, I did throw in the Google Slides your first day, mainly because, especially if you haven't used it before, it gives you a lot of tips and tricks, a lot of little videos on how to do different things, because once you start playing around with Google Slides, you can do some really cool things with it. I also gave you Google Slides resources from Ditch That Textbook, because one of the things he does is he creates all these amazing activities and ideas that you can use with Google Slides. Another thing he does a lot of is he resizes Google Slides to different sizes. And so like here, he makes interactive notebooks, which I love, because every page is its own slide. You can resize the pages to be a standard piece of paper. You can really integrate multimedia very easily. And good old Ditch That Textbook allows you to download templates. And so you have a lot of options to make copies of his resources. So you don't have to rethink the wheel or recreate the wheel. And that, I think, is so nice. So I shared with you those Ditch That Textbook stuff. And then he also has another really great one where he uses Slides superpowers. And so he talks about how you can use different skills to make a collaborative workspace, brainstorm, plan lessons. So he gives you a number of ideas and resources here too. So lots of resources that you can use. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you individually about 5 minutes just to check out some of the Google Slides resources. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back and answer any questions that you have. And then once you've done that, we're going to go into breakout rooms and have a collaborative discussion so that you can see how easy that is. And also I can tell you the instructor secrets. And so that'll be super fun. So any questions about Google Slides? So go ahead and explore the resources in the 010 Google Slides assignment, and we will do the collaborative discussion in about 5 minutes when we come back.
I just want to say I love this Ditch This Textbook website.
Yay! Isn't it like the
oh my gosh, I could read this all day and like still like never remember it all. So I like it's all there.
Good, good. And I really, I encourage you guys, the Ditch the Textbook resources are, he is very generous with his resources. He's written a number of books, which are all the ones that I've read have been really good. And when you're on his site at the top, he has the resources and you'll see he has templates. If you go to the templates, he's so funny, don't do the work if you don't have to. And so he gives you, these are Google Slides, Google Drawings, and PowerPoint templates that you can utilize. And so he has all these amazing graphic organizers. He has icon boards. He has art gallery icons. So just, he does do a lot of really, really good stuff, and he provides it to you for free. So I really appreciate that he does that. So that Ditch That Textbook is super fun. Other comments, thoughts about Google Slides?
There's just so much. I don't know how you get through it all. I mean, so much.
There is.
Overload.
There is a lot. And one of the things, and that's why I shared the Google, the first day of Google Slides, because the basics is a really, it's a great place to start to get some ideas. And then they give you some great tutorials of how to kind of go next. I've found Google Slides is much easier to use than like Google Docs, because in Google Docs, if you've ever tried to insert graphics, you end up with they will mess up your text really easily. Google Slides gives you that capability to do graphics. The other really nice thing, if you're used to using PowerPoint, it's the same concept. You can do backgrounds, you can do your masters, and so you can do some really nice things in terms of putting a chart on the background as a background, and then students can't mess with that. That's just there, and then they can work over the top of it. So Google Slides gives you a lot of flexibility. So one of the things that you can do, and this is one of those really, really easy things that I've done a lot since we've moved online. And so these are collaborative discussion slides. And I'm going to put you into breakout rooms in Zoom. And so I think I've put everybody in. If you have an identifier after your name, you're grouped more thoughtfully. If you don't have an identifier after your name, you're grouped hopefully by big grade chunk. So That's the plan anyways. So quick on your participants tab, who has used a breakout room in Google or in Zoom before? All right, lots of you haven't and a few of you have. The few of you that have, does somebody want to unmute and talk about breakout rooms and how you've used them?
Again,
I
was
used
with
it in a,
Jen, and we broke up into elementary, middle school, high school, and discussed our specific classroom procedures.
Oh, no, where'd you do that at?
With Jen Fowler.
Oh, night in science. Oh, good. She did some really fun things, it sounds like. All right, and then somebody else had unmuted. Do you want to talk too?
I did it in an early childhood conference. It was a 3-day conference this spring. So to break out into the different sessions, they would break us out into breakout groups.
Okay.
Within every hour.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. So one of the nice things about breakout rooms in a classroom setting is it really allows us to have those conversations. And as a teacher, um, it's hard to always monitor conversations. Even when you're in the classroom, it's hard to always monitor the conversations and make sure that they're productive. And so this is something you can utilize both in the classroom or remotely, which is really nice. So how we've structured these, and this is one of those things where, I mean, you can make a copy of this and then just change the question. We have, each room has a slide. The room number is on there, and so when you're in a breakout room, you do have a breakout room number. You can will want to, one of the processes that I've seen, especially when working with larger groups, is to encourage people to kind of have some protocols. So in the room, you know, one person take the lead just to make sure that the discussion happens. You know, one person take notes. You know, each room has its slide. Add your participants' names to your room's designated slide, and then highlight the name of the person who will share out for the room. Because then when you come back, I can, you know, as a facilitator, I can say, hey, you know, group one, room one, and then the person who's going to share, they already know that they're going to share. I'm not calling on somebody randomly, and I'm also not waiting forever while all 4 group 1 people are saying, oh, who's gonna share? So it really speeds things up very nicely. Um, So one of the things, the other thing with this is to make sure that students know how to get into the slides ahead of time. And so while we're in Zoom, a lot of times you can share the link, because we're all in Google Classroom together. I'm just going to instruct that you guys click on the Google Collaborative discussion slides so that you have them. Um, so that's essentially how it works. One of the other nice things is I use a lot of tables when I'm creating these. And so like this, I only have one question. How do you plan to use Google Classroom now? But I could have put in numerous questions and had you reflect on them. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an opportunity to actually have a breakout discussion. I'm going to send you out into breakout rooms, and I will automatically have you go so that you don't have to click on anything. If you don't go into a breakout room, do look and make sure that you don't, that it's not asking you to go in. And so you should all be in rooms you should all be in rooms that are within your grade band, at least. I mean, so like middle school, high school, elementary school. The other thing is your rooms are named breakout room 1, but then there's numbers, like high school 1, high school 2, etc. after them, but you'll be in like room 1. So your rooms are numbered according to your slides. So you just need to find your slide and have your conversation. Any questions about jumping into the rooms? And
How do we know which room we're in?
so at the very top of your room screen, it tells you you're in room, and it'll tell you you're in 1, and then I've renamed them a little bit, so it'll probably say room 1, and then also some additional, like I have high school 1, high school 2. That
Is
type
this
of thing.
the collaborative discussion
This
slideshow?
it is. Yep, you'll want to all be in the collaborative discussion slides, which is your assignment.
Because I'm in that assignment, but I don't understand how I'm in a room.
You're not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that won't make sense.
I
I'm so
have-
confused right now. Am I supposed to be in a room?
No, great question.
Okay.
You're
That was
nowhere.
my question also. I was like, how do I know what?
And I was like, am I in a room? Because I don't see anything happening.
Wait, nothing's changed. Great questions. No, I haven't shipped you out yet. I wanted to make sure you were okay. So I will open the rooms. I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to answer these questions. There is a help in the room, and so if you click on the help, it will notify me, and I will pop in and see what's going on. Okay, so off you go. All right, so let's see.
I really like the breakout rooms.
Good.
I think they would be good if we had a distant situation and students needed to do group work. You can pop in on them, can't you?
Yep, I popped in on a number of people asked for help, and then I'm going to show you my secret. I know that there was a room that was on the wrong slide, and another room just handled it like awesome, and they just put themselves on the end and carried on. But I was able to see that without having to pop. Because it was resolved, I didn't pop in. But I popped into a number of rooms to answer questions and stuff like that. And a lot of times if I was doing like if I was breaking you out in content areas, I would pop into the different content area rooms and talk to you guys. So it's just nice to be able to have a small group conversation. So I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you guys the secret part that I dearly love. So when we are in our breakout rooms and you guys are using the collaborative slides, I can sit and watch them fill in. And so I can say, ooh, room 10, what happened there? Slide 10. Actually, I don't know what happened there. We have room 9, 10, 11. You guys have been renumbering on me. Room 12 was empty. And then this is the room that they are not really room 16, but they made themselves room 16. So good job, you guys. So, and because of, does anybody remember? Go ahead and drop in the chat how I see what happened, in case I want to know why my slides why room 10 is empty and there's nothing here. How can I check? Version history, yay! Okay. Good job. That's all I wanted. So yeah, so I can
And
see.
where is that again? Oh, right there.
It's
Okay.
under file, version history, and then I can see the version history. And so this is really awesome because now I can go in and I can see what happened here and how why this was added. And so I can go in and I can actually expand it out, and I can see on each slide, what happened. And so this looks like that Julie potentially added this slide, and that's okay. But so I can go down and I can see as we go exactly what was going on. And so that is really nice. I can restore versions if something were to be erased, or I can also, and I do this a lot in collaborative work, like somebody's like, I had, a really awesome reflection here and it disappeared. I can go back in time and a lot of times find that. And so, for example, I know there was some confusion early on where people were typing somewhere they didn't want to be. You can just go in and copy and paste off of the revision and grab stuff and then paste it on the current. So you have some options. So very nice. So I would really like to do a real quick share out. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because I still want to cover a little bit more stuff, but I'd like to just do a real quick share out. And things that I can do is, I'm going to start with one just because, but I don't always have to start with one. I can start with room 10 or room, 8, or I can start at the bottom and go up. And so because you guys have already decided who's going to talk, I can do that. The other thing I can really do is I could have gone through while you guys were building your discussion and figured out that I only wanted to have, group 1, group 6, whatever, share because they had something that I wanted to discuss. So because I can see what you're talking about, I can really utilize your discussions more purposefully. All right, room 1, real fast. Do you want to share any big ahas from your group?
I guess the biggest are the things that we were talking about within Google Classroom. Amanda teaches Spanish, and in using Google Slides, it has a Spanish spell check. So it wouldn't allow her to type like the accent, but it corrected it for her and let her put the whole word in. So that was a useful tool she found in Google. And then basically, we're all going to use Google Classroom, put our resources in it. So whether we're at distance or whether we're in the classroom, it's all there. If students are gone, they can go to Google Classroom and get our notes rather than making multiple copies for them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Oh, that's quite a bit. That's a lot. I'm tired. So I'm going to the room 2. I just had to comment on you're going to use it as you've always done with more swanky ways of teaching. I just loved that. I want to go on down to, let's see, what happened to did you guys delete my comment? So there was a really great opportunity, and I was using it as a learning example. I had somebody who put in a swear word. Do you want to just unmute yourself and talk about that?
Yeah, I did. It technically wasn't a swear word because I didn't spell it that way. But I figured it'd get reaction because I didn't know what I was doing, and then you were on it pretty quick.
So
it's going to happen.
It is, but I can watch it. So did you delete it now? Is that what you did?
No, I didn't. I haven't touched anything. Room 3.
Room 3. Yeah, it's.
Where did room 3 go? I haven't touched anything.
Okay.
There it is. Oh, it's gone.
It's gone. I know. We could look at our revision and find it. But
I had to do it, so I don't know where it went.
One of the things that I want to point out is I was able to add a comment while they were in the group. I was just able to add a quick comment and say, hey, oh, here, we can find my comment. It's still here. The selected text, it shows me my comment. I selected the text that he used. And it wasn't in a swear word, but the intent was there, and I just gave him a quick chat. And so that was that. And so it's one of those things that I also really like, that you can call that stuff out while we're hanging out. We don't have to. You can catch it, so it's kind of nice. So let's see. Just given time, all right, I'm gonna pick on room 5. Do you want to share any ahas?
We just talked about, because most of us are either excuse me, sped staff. Nope. Okay. Sorry. Sped staff or like the alternative classroom. And so we just talked about how to help us facilitate like co-teaching and getting assignments out to students and making modifications and things like that.
Okay. Good. Yes. The modifications and the being a co-teacher for the SPED is huge. And it really puts you in a different vantage point, because I've talked to so many teachers who say, they have to, try to get the lesson plans, and, it's really hard. And this way you're just right in the thick of it. So that's awesome.
We talked a little bit too about starting with Google Classroom right away, so that it's kind of the norm. It's not something that you're throwing at them right before they leave if we have to be dismissed for a while. So
yes, I think that's awesome. Let's see if there's any. Lots of using Jamboards, which is exciting. Some manipulations. So is there any other room that wants to share out anything that jumped out at them?
Julie, so
Yeah.
I was in room 10. What happened to our slide? Like, because we typed in there. So I'm just wondering.
Is this you? Your room 10?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
Somebody added a slide, which is, no big deal, but it just moved the slides down. And this is where so some people will just say, okay, you're going to be a slide number, and they don't like. I like to put the instructions at the top, just because as long as they're in the slides, it means that the instructions are with them. But then what it does is it makes, so like slide 2 is room 1. And so that can be a little confusing for people. But if you just start out with blank slides, your room 1 would be the slide 1 type of thing.
Sure.
And that's totally up to you. But if somebody adds a slide, even in that model, it's going to then change the subsequent room number, slides down. So you can take that, the slide, you can make a copy of this, and just go back and delete stuff and make it yours. You can do any of that kind of stuff, and kind of utilize it. I use these a lot with collaborative activities because it just is a great way to share ideas and have those conversations. So yep. Okay. So you're there. Room 10's there.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any other comments, questions before we move on to the last thing?
The group that I was in, we were in room 14.
Okay.
I thought it was our group thought it was a really good tool to be able to use the Post-its as like a check-in in the morning for their morning meeting or an attendance on Jamboard. And then the social distancing a little bit, they can do it on their own computers instead of having to come up and wait online for the board or whatever as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, so I mean, so you can utilize the technology even if you are face to face to kind of, and you're not spending as much time waiting then, because hopefully and that's a great intro thing too. I mean, they can log in and they can take attendance. So that would be something that they could do easily right away type of thing. So that's cool. I like that. All right. Well, thanks guys for all your work on this. I really, from the facilitator standpoint, collaborative discussion is one of my favorites because I can participate with you guys and I can really monitor rooms really easily. Plus you guys have a chance to talk and you know, brainstorm amongst yourselves. And so I do really, really like that. So that is pretty much 10 in a nutshell. And so the next assignment that we're going to look at is our last one, and that one is the choice, blending, and hyperdocs. And so basically what we're doing with this one is we are taking advantage of the opportunities and the resources to create how you know, so we've talked a lot about creating resources and utilizing the Google apps like Google Slides and that type of thing. So what I pulled in for this last little bit is how we can incorporate choice. Yes, Joni, I can show you how to set up breakout rooms. In fact, I think I have a little video that I can add in the resources too. So we'll get that one way or the other. So incorporating choice, this is a Wakelet that is one of my favorites. And one of my coworkers created it, and then I collaborate on it with her. So it's a team thing. But it's, you know, how can we incorporate choice in a digital world? And so we got to go through, you know, what's a choice board? You know, what does it look like? So how many of you guys are using choice right now with your classes or in your classrooms? Yes, no on the participants tab. The link is blocked. So do you guys block Wakelet? That makes me sad. Corey, are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Do you guys block Wakelets?
Not that I'm aware of, but I can take a look.
Okay. All right, so somebody else was able to get there. So thank you for looking. Sean, do you want to try again on another browser maybe?
Julie, maybe if it shows the full URL.
So yeah, I can drop that in the chat if you want. Let's see. Try this. Try that one. All right, so I think it must just be because Wakelet gives me the shortened when I go to share it, and you must have shortened URLs blocked. Is that it?
That's a security issue we have. Yep.
Okay, so let me just go in and I'll add the long link and see if I can see if that works for you guys. Okay, good to know, and good for you guys to know too, because it'll make it. All right, so I updated the link, so hopefully you'll be all good now to be able to get in and access it through the long link. So go ahead and try again in your Google Classroom. You might need to refresh your assignment. Okay, so Wakelet is a way to curate content. Wakelets, I mean, it's super easy to use, and that could be like another day if we if we wanted to do more of these tools. So there's a handful of you guys that are using Choice, which was my question originally. Does anybody who's using Choice want to unmute and talk about what you do with it?
I guess when I use choice, it's more of like a lesson presentation or lesson choice. It's not so much like a choice board. I'll be like, do you guys want to take regular notes, or do you want to do like interactive, or do you want to have like time for this first or do this?
And that's and that's choice. I mean, that's awesome. And giving them those options to say, you know, you can take notes however you want to take notes, and here are some options type of thing. That's totally choice. So I love that. And that's a good way to start with choice, because you have those options. Does anybody else want to share? Nobody? Okay. So this collection does a nice job of introducing lots of different choice examples. And so Carrie has put together, you know, like when or why would you use these? And I like these because if you start thinking about choice, especially as we go remotely, it gives you that opportunity to say, you know, if you give students their plan for the week and give them, you know, these all need to be done by Friday, for example, that means that they can do their work all on Tuesday if they're working from home. They can do all of their math. They can do all of their science. They can do, you know, they can kind of work in a manner that works for them. You also can give, if you can give more options, when you're done with this, you have choices to do, you know, these types of activities. So choice can look a lot of different ways, and it can really help when we are working in more of a blended environment, to help balance your workload and their workload. So as I scroll on down, there's a number of different resources that are part of this Wakelet. And so if we you can kind of click on and explore, and I'm gonna skip a number of them, just because, well, actually I'm gonna go into this one. This is a Seesaw weekly checklist, and so they put it in Seesaw, but you could use it anywhere. And so this is for littles, and you can see that, you know, they have different assignments and different activities that they need to do. And so they have their Zoom meeting in, they have their math resources, their VOAC, and their extras. And so all of this is in one spot. And this is actually created by Melissa Hayes from Falkton. And she shared that at the TIE conference. She shared how she uses Seesaw. But because it's a Google Doc, I mean, you can use it anywhere. It's, you know, she uses it as Seesaw, but you could use it anywhere. So I'm going to scroll on down and look at Casey Bell from Shake Up Learning's, her interactive learning menus. Because not only does she give some background on it, but she gives some really nice examples. And so here's a novel study for grades 6 through 12. And you can see that this could be something where you could have numerous different books being read, and the students can complete. She says start with number 5 and then make 2 other choices. And so if you make a copy of it, if you click there, it'll make a copy of it and you can save it to your drive. Then you can modify it to how you would like to use it. And then when you share it, you can share it out with your students, so that they can add the links when they create it, and then turn them in, or you have different options there. Here's a PD for teachers, and she has collaborative notes is what she's put in here. And so that's another option that you can do, is you can put together collaborative notes. Yes, this is very similar to Class Dojo. It's kind of like an online student portfolio, except it all pulls everything together into Google Classroom, and so you could have everything in that assignment. She also gives a number of other menu ideas and bingo resources. And so what I like about Casey Bell is she gives us a couple of, templates that we can use. Let's see. This is an example from another book. If you wanted to kind of see a book that it was created specifically for a book. I'm going to keep scrolling here because there's a number of other things I want to touch on. So Shake Up Learning did a lot with choice boards during home. This copy of Art at Home is mind-blowing. This is a teacher in Lindsay, California that put together a choice board of art projects for her students to do. They needed to do one project per week, and then they had to post their work in the art gallery. And so she used Padlet for her art gallery, and so it was a way to share everything. And so here are the art projects that she posted, or that the Stick Kids posted. And so they had complete choice of what they were doing, but they also were able to, she provided them the guidelines here. So that is, it is super fun. It's one of those things where I want to do, I want to do choice. Let's see, let's pop back over here. A couple of other things. So HyperDocs is another collection of ways to do choice. And so what this one is, they put together a virtual field trip where we're looking at, gives you step 1, step 2, step 3, and then step 4, it tells you to share your learning by creating a 1-slide presentation. And so it gives the instructions of what they want them to do with their learning. And so they've gone in and, turned one of the free field trips into a learning activity with resources that the kids need to do. So there's a number of examples of math choice boards. These are great because they have choice boards for K2 and 3-5 and 6-8, sorry, high school. This is digital reading assignments for any book, and so this is another Wakelet that you can go into and check out. So you have even more resources here for digital. And then this, how to make a choice board for an iPad. And so if you are using an iPad, it gives you some resources for that. So that is pretty much our choice information. I'm going to quick touch on the HyperDoc information too, because HyperDocs are a little bit different. So HyperDocs use Google or Microsoft to create learning resources, and they do have a nice video, but what I want to touch on is this, turning a worksheet into an interactive HyperDoc. This is a teacher who took a worksheet, and I want you guys to kind of think about what you have for assignments and what you guys are currently using. And so in this activity, you can see that there is a article that she's asked them to highlight in orange, highlight in purple, highlight in green, different things. And then after reading, they're answering questions. Does this feel like it's a collaborative activity, or is it feel like something that a student will do just at their desk? You can chat me, you can unmute. At their desk. There won't be really any talking during this activity. So what she did is she turned it into a collaborative hyperdoc. And I just think it's like magic. So what she did is you can turn a PDF into a Google Doc, and I'll show you guys how to do that. It is one of those like things you think is going to be life-changing, but unfortunately it isn't always life-changing because it doesn't always translate everything correctly. So we'll run through that before we end today. But she wanted to turn an independent assignment into a semi-collaborative and interactive one. So what she did is she found 4 more articles that tied to the same subject and jigsawed it. So she came up with a pre-reading question and created a table. So here she said, what kind of people are heroes? This is a group of 4 students. So when in like Google Classroom, she would have assigned this to 4 students and they would be able to add their name and then answer this question. Then she took 5 articles that she found and she said, each person in your group will choose an article below and then fill out the chart located under the article link and answer the questions. And then she does the, remember to write and complete sentences. So here's the title, here's a brief description, here's the link to the article. So they needed to fill out the title and the brief description, and then here is the information that the students filled in. And so students' names are here, and they answered all these questions. What was your hero's name? What qualities? So each student read a different article and identified this information. So now they can go back and now they answer a question about the heroes, what hero, which one is the most heroic. And then finally, when they finished everything, she talked about how to turn in the assignment. And so this is one of those things that's now turned into a way more collaborative document. My next question for you is this something that we'd all have to do together at a small group, or could I pop in and do this when I'm available? Could I do it synchronously or asynchronously? You can unmute and talk to me. Both. Teresa, do you want to talk?
Well, depending on your student, some of them find time in the morning, in the afternoon, and as long as it's open to them, I mean, because they're not really collaborating in that they're all doing the same thing. I mean, they are, but they're not, because they each have a different article. So if they can't get together to discuss, they don't have to, but they can still answer the questions.
And read what each other posted. If you wanted to have them discuss, what's a way you could bring that in?
Ooh, use the Jamboard.
You could use a Jamboard. What's another way you could do that? What about Flipgrid? What about Flipgrid or Zoom breakouts? So you have a lot of options that you could really customize this assignment. So I really wanted to share this with you because as you are thinking about, you know, moving things online, how you can make them more interactive and how you can do that. So what's really nice about HyperDocs is they do provide templates for you. And the other thing that's really, really awesome is they provide some amazing there's a really great Facebook group. And so if we go to the search for HyperDocs here, there's a great Facebook group that you can join, and they also have a Twitter community. And so I'm in the Facebook group, and it is really nice because you can search and see if there's stuff that you're doing, and people ask questions all the time. Has anybody done a HyperDoc on this topic? And people communicate there. So it's a nice little PLN. All right, so we are running out of morning. So tell me, we've looked at choice, we've looked at blended, we've looked at HyperDocs. Excuse me. Questions, comments, thoughts? There is also a Google Classroom Facebook group. Yes, thanks, Lisa. You guys were so quiet. Okay. Do we have an assignment? So I did give you, there's the class question. And the class question was, how will you incorporate student creation and choice into Google Classroom? And then in terms of assignments, you do have the assignments for today that we went through. We have your organizing, we have your Jamboard, we have your Google Slides, and then we have your choice and blending. You are free to do any or all of them. For the Google Classroom, the choice and blending, I did say, create a choice board or a HyperDoc, and then turn it in when done. And so that can give you that practice of creating an assignment or creating a document and turning it in. For the Google Slides, it was really more of a, you can post in the chat if you want to. And Google Jamboard is the same. You can mark as done, and organizing Google Drive is also the same. So that is pretty much your ins and outs for that. Other questions, thoughts?
Julie, is your information, are you able to share that with everyone if there's questions after today?
Yes.
You know, I know you were available these 3 days. I don't know what that looks like moving forward. I don't know how long you're expected to do that, or because it's a lot of information front loaded, and
yes,
just everyone probably needs some processing time and reflection, and there's just a lot of unknown. So I'm just thinking about, I know how I am, a lot of times something might come up later on and I'll think, I wish I would have asked that and I didn't. So
no,
maybe that would be helpful.
Yep, and we can do that real quick. I can add my contact, my email into the Google Classroom, and you guys can contact me through the Google Classroom too. In fact, I would encourage you guys to utilize that because you have that model. So I was going to find a PDF real quick to bring up for you guys. Okay, so we had the converting to PDF. I'm glad you guys remember that. I forgot it. Okay, so I have a PDF. It's in my Google Drive. And I am going to say at the top, you see open with, and you'll see it gives you a Google Docs. And so what it'll do is it will convert it into a Google document. You'll also see it's with anything. My home is a Google Home, and my Google is talking to me. There's other things. So you'll see like it messed up the formatting here, and so the everything is kind of wonky, and so depending on how much formatting is in, it may make it a total mess. Other times it'll come in really great, but it is super easy, and it does give you that ability to copy and paste if you want to. Another thing you can do with a PDF is you can if you have it as an image, you can turn it into the background, and so you can add it to the background of your sheets. The other thing I wanted to show you, and somebody asked earlier, was how do we make breakout rooms in Zoom? And so let me share this slide with you. And I'll add a little meeting note on how to do that too. So breakout rooms in Zoom are super easy. You click on the break when you have to have them turned on in your account, and that's available in a free account. You also need to be the host of the meeting, and so if you're not the host, you don't see the breakout room option. You can then assign breakout rooms, and so like for you guys, I knew there'd be about 60 of you, so I made 15, 16 breakout rooms. And you can either automatically send people to breakout rooms, which is super fast and easy, or you can manually. This time I did manual because I wanted to group you by grade levels, but I generally do automatically when I'm working with larger groups. And then when it says create rooms, then you'll see what happens over here on the right, where it shows you the breakout rooms. It also shows you the people that are in them. And so if people join late, you can assign them, you can move people around, you have a lot of options. One of the things that I really encourage you to do is in the options in your breakout room, you can check this move all participants into breakout rooms automatically. It really makes your life so much easier, because otherwise people will have to accept the invitation to go to the breakout room. And if people aren't paying attention, or if it doesn't pop up over their other windows, then they don't know what to do, and it's really hard to find, and it just gets confusing. So if you say move all participants into breakout rooms automatically, whoosh, they go, and you are alone in the main room and life is good, unless they ask for help. No, I'm kidding. It's all good. You can set the rooms to close automatically, and so if you're not very good at keeping track of time, pick me. You can set them to close automatically. You can also allow or not allow participants to join the main room at any time. And I generally let people come back because I don't care. And then the countdown after closing breakout rooms, I've actually reduced it to 15 seconds. You can have it be up to a minute, I believe. So you can do that. So breakout rooms are super easy to set up and utilize. And once you've done a couple of them, you'll be golden. So thanks for reminding me about the PDF and also reminding me about the breakout rooms. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, comments before we wrap up? We will have office hours this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Time. And so hopefully you'll have a chance to get in and play around some more with some of the resources and stop and share what you've done, or ask questions, because it's really fun to just see what you guys are doing.